Hey guys, Paul from Ashen.
Hi, Paul!
It is New Comic Book Day for the week of March 18th, and we're going to get started right now.
That feels right.
This episode brought to you by Wash Your Hands. Just wash them. You know what to do.
It takes a while, but you got to really get in there, get under your ring.
20 seconds.
All right, yeah, sing a song. Like, I'm a little teapot, blah, blah, blah.
Social distancing.
Yeah.
Except when Tim rubs against me. I don't know why that happens, but it just does.
It's because you don't get out of the way.
That's possibly.
This is not centered. Dun, 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 dun. That's my centering song. Hey guys, Tim from Capes and Scowls. Woo! How are you enjoying your quarantine? Reading a bunch of books? Well, I've got a bunch of books to tell you about. You can get these at your LCS. Go support your LCS. It's tough times for them. Right, Paul? Tough times. All right, so...
I mean, yeah, I was not in my... Oh, yeah, they can't see me nodding the head. I understand that. Yes, tougher times.
Thanks, Paul.
Only 4 years, I still don't get this whole, video off-camera thing.
Yeah, well, I podcast, so I gotta always tell people nodding is not enough. You have to verbalize.
I'm sorry. Yes.
All right.
LCS, tough times.
Tough times. They need love and support, maybe like a belly rub.
Most of your money, though.
Money would be great. I'll take the belly rub. Mob Psycho 100, Volume 4. It's that book by that guy who did One Punch Man. We've got Conan the Barbarian, Volume 2. I enjoy that. I enjoy the Barbarian. They're going to yell at me. Don't say it that way. Star Wars, Volume 13. I think this is the last one before the new stuff starts up. I could be wrong. And I'm okay with that. Trees, Volume 3, Warren Ellis. Volume 1 came out, 5 years ago or something, man. And it was good, but then Volume 2 came out, so many years later, and here we are, Volume 3. This is that miniseries he just did. Actually, the miniseries came out on time. I can't yell at Warren Ellis too much, but I can. Even though I enjoyed his Castlevania thing, which I guess is what he neglected instead of doing Trees. You know what? I'm very conflicted on Warren Ellis right now. Let's just talk about Batman Allies, Alfred Pennyworth. Here's a bunch of really cool Alfred stories. Who doesn't like Alfred? He's the best. Nomen Omen. I just like this green. Look at this green. Don't you want to buy this just for the green? You like Nomen Omen, right?
I didn't read it.
He loves it. King Thor. This is that miniseries. I read issue 1 and I think 2. Good. We got Oblivion Song. You've read a vast majority of Oblivion Song.
Yeah, that was really good.
That's Volume 4. We have Black Panther and the Agents of Wakanda, Volume 1. You remember how dark the issue 1 cover was to this?
Yeah, they fixed that.
They definitely fixed it. They're like, we're not going to own that mistake.
I mean, they didn't fix the comic, but they fixed the cover.
Ooh. And then we got Immortal Hulk, Volume 6. Man, this thing's so great. Al Ewing, you're great. Everything great.
All right, first up, we have Spider-Woman, issue number 1. It's a new Spider-Woman. The art is really, really good on this. I liked it. I'm kind of off and on with Spider-Woman. Sometimes she gets a little bit too preachy with her feminism, yay, feminism kind of thing. And it's okay, we get it. But there wasn't that much of it in this, other than a couple bratty one-liners. It was a really good issue. So Jessica is kind of broke right now because she's a mom. And as a mom, she can't do, normal crime fighting. With the Avengers, which I guess they pay. I guess the Avengers have some kind of endowment that allows them to get paid. So she can't do that. So she has to do private security to basically make sure that her kid has diapers. And she does that, and for some reason her powers are malfunctioning. She's way more rage and angry-ish, and doesn't understand what's going on. And that's where this goes. This is where you're trying to understand what's happening, and then you find out at the end what actually happens. And it's an interesting story to go into. I'm curious where this is going to go, and pick it up.
All right, first up we have X-Ray Robot number 1 from Dark Horse. It's Michael Allred and Laura Allred and somebody else. Nate Piekos. I have no idea. This is a story of some scientists trying to do some sciencey things. They're trying to go and teleport, essentially, a robot into an alternate dimension and kind of see what happens. It does something, perhaps that. They're not really sure. They're trying to describe to each other what they've actually found. They have footage and an eyewitness account from one of the scientists who was wearing this cool little helmet-y thing, piloting the robot through other dimensions. Basically, this is a big old science. If you enjoy science, this is a fun one. It's actually a pretty good story, though. I like where it went. The art is great. You either love or hate Alred's art. I love it. But the coloring, my goodness, the colors with his art, so good in this. So if you want something a little different, I think this was pretty decent. And again, science. We need more science books, people. Get me more science. Get on it. Science. Science.
Next up, we have Outlawed, issue number 1. What? A champion story I kind of like. Outlaw's another one that typically I'm not a fan of because they really okay boomer the hell out of anybody who's not a teenager. They really make you feel guilty for even reading your comic if you are above the age of 16. And that tends to turn off a lot of people. But this book, at least, makes you care about some of the things. They're at an expo center. Something has gone terribly wrong. And you find out that they are basically going through the Superhero Registration Act that caused Civil War the first time and erasing the exemptions for young superheroes. So basically, anyone under the age of 21 is now a vigilante if they're not registered with the Superhero Act. And that causes problems, and you see the champions on the run. This is actually leading up to something I would actually read. And that says a lot, because like I said, wasn't a fan of champions. Way too okay boomer. But
it's Al Ewing. He's great.
Yeah, Al Ewing made me care. Hopefully he's on the because this is the one shot. So it's going directly into Champions issue number 1. Hopefully he's the one writing it, because then I'll actually read it. Writer's note, it wasn't Al Ewing, it was Eve Ewing. My bad.
All right, next up we have Planet Comics number 1 from Antarctic Press. What is a Planet Comics? That's what I asked myself, so I read it, Paul. And it is a bunch of stories. There's 3 stories, I believe, inside. 3 stories. And they're very different, actually. And I kind of enjoyed them. They are all pretty good. The first one was my favorite. It is the cover story of a woman being stalked by this creature. She is, of course, saved by this dashing 1940s, 50s Flash Gordon kind of archetype. And he turns out to be kind of awful. And I enjoyed that story a bunch. There's also a story of a submarine that is in distress. And another story of space vampires. Space vampires, Paul! Get pumped. So that's your 3 stories. They're all pretty good. The first one was my favorite. And it's just something different, for price $3.99. You get a couple cool stories, all sci-fi-y. Who doesn't want that? More sci-fi, not science. Sci-fi. This was a good story. If you want something different, check it out. And
my pick of the week, it is DCeased, Unkillables, issue number 2. This is not the cover. We sold out of the cover, but I really like the Full Metal Jacket. The Full Metal Jacket.
Freudian slips.
Yeah, that's a thing. What's a jackament then? Why is that a Freudian slip?
It's like a jackalope.
But with a coat on?
But a long coat. A questionable coat. Like a trench coat.
Okay, that's weird.
Yeah, you said it.
So, we get to see what's going on. And of course, if you know anything about the DCeased universe, you know that things don't go well for long. And that's basically what this is. We're starting to see a little bit more of what's going on in the orphanage with Commissioner Gordon and his crew, and then what's going on with Vandal Savage and his crew. And things go terribly wrong. And that's what DCeased is. DCeased, you're not going to get a happy ending. You're just not. That's not what DCeased is about. And more people that you know die. And it's really interesting. I can't wait to see what the rest of this goes. Pick it up.
All right, it's time for my pick of the week. What do you think it is?
I have no idea.
That's right, you don't. It's Wicked Things, number 1 from Boom. We need more detective stories, Paul. More detective stories is what I'm saying.
Science,
not science, not sci-fi. No, this is great. This is John Allison and Max Sarin, who did Giant Days together, and I love Giant Days. I think I've made that very clear, that I love Giant Days, and I want nothing more than Giant Days all the time. But this is different. This is a detective story in the universe of Giant Days, and your main character has been nominated to be the best junior detective, I think it is, from ages 16 to 18. There's an award show. Her friend nominates her. They go. And they meet a bunch of other detectives in the field, And it's just like a weird award show and celebrity kind of thing for detectives. Everybody else is kind of terrible in some way or another, and awful things end up going down, and she needs to solve some sort of mystery. I'm being super vague, of course, because I don't want to spoil it for you, but there are a lot of surprises, things you don't see coming. And I just love the way they write these characters. They just feel so human, and you don't get that enough in comics anymore. Not everybody feels human anymore, Paul. Anyways, I really like the book, and you should read it. It's a lot of fun. All right, you made it to the end of the video. Thank you for that. We can't promote anything because we can't do anything. The whole world be on Corona Alert #1, but don't worry about that. It's gonna be okay. How do you support us? You support the comic book store. Come on in. We're going to be open until they tell me I can't be. And come get your books. Paul, you want to support Paul? For some reason? You can go to Ashen Phoenix's Twitch page. You can watch them do Twitchy things. It's really fun. Sometimes he builds the cosplays. He was making a weird-looking hat the other day. It was really weird-looking. I was like, wow, how's that thing going to stay on your head? And he said bobby pins. I didn't ask him. But I assume bobby pins was the answer. So do that. Twitch is an option. YouTube is an option. Just, have fun with your time. If you can watch a video here or there, it helps out.
Yeah, just watch all of our videos.
Just watch all of the videos.
Got like 600 of them on there right now.
Just watch like at least a few. And come on in, buy your books. We'll be here. We're not going anywhere. Come get your books. And we can't shake hands or hug, but no, I love you.
But the place is spotless. And
it is spotless. I clean it. I'm going to wipe it down again before we leave, and probably again when we open. Just so much wiping.
All the wiping.
All the wiping. All the disinfecting. All the disinfecting.
It's for you.
It's for you. My wife's going to be like, you don't clean this good at home. And I'll be like, no. No, I don't.
It's like, no, I don't.
I don't. I don't. Sorry. Ha 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 ha.